So very excited today. Very excited package I received in the mail. Long story short, with the Voigtlander Nocton 51.1, I kept comparing it to the Noctilux F1, and to me the Noctilux F1 had better bokeh. Like, it seemed larger and it seemed smoother, even though it's an older lens, and it was produced from 1975 to 2008. Then from 2008, they started to do the f/0.95. But I knew it was kind of out of my price range, but special thanks to Sean from San Marino, California. He gave me a Black Friday deal. I asked him if he could lower down his price and give me a Black Friday deal, and he did. Thank you so much. And I was able to purchase this lens, providing that I'm selling 3 of my Voigtlander lenses. I already sold the Nocton 75mm 1.5 a couple days ago, so I'm selling the 35mm and the most likely the 50 1.1 after do some comparisons soon, just so I can make up the funds to get this lens. But very excited for this. This is going to be my Christmas and birthday gift. So let's do the unboxing. It's very hard to find these lenses with the actual Leica box. And if you do, the price is actually higher, actually increases. Okay, really excited. Can't wait to do comparisons with the 1.1 and the 1.2. Okay, let's put this away. All right. So looks packed really well. A lot of bubble wrap. And this version is version 4. And this has the built-in pull-out hood that way. And from looking online, it is actually a little bit heavier, around 630 grams compared to the other versions. So this is my Christmas gift right here that I'm unwrapping. Slowly unwrapping, and it looks like it's in. Okay, that's the first layer. Second layer. I really thought I wouldn't own one of these lenses, but it was such a good deal, and able to afford it after. Able to afford it when I sell the other lenses. Right away I can feel the weight, and that's why some people want to not use the Noctilux and just use the Similux, because it does block some of the viewfinder and the weight. So here it is. Wow, look at that. Right away, first impressions, and look, it comes with a cap too. This looks like the original cap, E60. So first impressions is it's pretty heavy, and in the pictures it looks larger, but everyone says it's larger because compared to a regular, this is a 35 1.2. Let me show this close up to you. So on the left hand side, your left hand side, this is the Noctilux F1, and this is the 35 1.2. And compared to the Voigtlander, I have right here, maybe it's a little bit larger, but very similar. Very similar. Okay. Aperture rings. This feels good, very smooth. And this is the pop-out hood. Lens filter, a little bit dusty, but here's a pop-out hood. A lot of people don't like it because it is like plastic. And some prefer the older versions, like version 2, where you can actually remove the hood and put it back down, put back the hood. But really great condition for a lens that was made, I looked at the serial number, made in 1997. Just a little bit dusty here. But this is nice. Aperture blades look so clean. Very smooth focus ring. Very nice. Look at that. All right, so let's try it out. Let's mount it on the M9. So just concerned about the just like how to focus something that's has very like shallow depth of field. But yeah, so I'm gonna try. Yeah, so everyone says the focus throw is like so long. Let me step back here a little bit. So minimum focusing distance is about 1 meter, 3.3 feet. Pictures look nice. And it looks pretty sharp for f1. The vignetting is really nice. Focus throw is really long focus throw. But this feels so solid. And it is made in Canada. All of the Noctilux F1s, all the Noctilux F1s were made in Canada, and then the 0.95s were made in the US. But yeah, just feeling this, how nice and smooth the aperture clicks are, and the long focus throw. You can see how long it is. Pretty long. So I can't wait to go outside and try testing it out on the Christmas tree that we have up. But wow, it looks like this is a nice look. It's actually very sharp at f1. I'm surprised. This is a good copy, very sharp. Wow. Cool. Looks nice. I've been shooting this Noctilux for the past couple of days, and here's some things I noticed about it. The hood is actually plastic. I know I mentioned this when unboxing it. It to me seems very loose, but I think that just could be the age of the lens, but no problem with extending it and just leaving it out like that while shooting. The aperture ring is very snappy. Let me just bring this here like that. Very snappy, very solid. The focus ring has a long focus throw. Focus throw on this lens is very long. So this is, I believe, to close focusing. Yeah, and then to turn to infinity, very long. And it's a little bit stiffer than the Voigtlander, but you can still turn it no problem. But if you want to focus fast with this, I think you may be missing shots, but I think Leica just wanted it to be very precise when you're using this lens on the street or maybe focusing on something far away. And at f1 is pretty shallow. All right, let's hop on the computer. And I want to show you some raw files with this lens compared to the Voigtlander Noctil 1.1 and 1.2. So this is with the Noctilux, shot wide open at f1, and it is very sharp and at the same time soft. It's kind of weird to say that, but it is sharp, but there's like a slight glow to this image. And you do notice wide open at f1, there's a lot of vignetting. And the vignetting from This lens, some people say, is from the filter, but I did take shots without the filter and I still get the same harsh vignetting that you see here in the corners. Next image, focus on text. Text does look sharp and is super well calibrated on the Leica M9P. I was worried about that because the M9P has no live view, but again, very sharp wide open and soft at the same time, gives a very dreamy, glowy look. Next example is an ornament on our Christmas tree. Again, use a rangefinder to focus. Calibration is really good, sharp, soft at the same time. I move further back. Oh, let me take this off in better preview. I move further back and wide open f1, it seems sharp. And I did another test outside. Again, f1, very sharp. Next is the Noctilux shot closely in the box of the Macy's at f1, and I'm going to compare this to the Voigtlander 1.1. And Noctilux is on the left hand side. What I notice is the Noctilux kind of acts like a 53 millimeter lens. The magnification is actually greater compared to all the shots you're going to see. But the bokeh, it's really unique, something different. And at 1.1 on the Voigtlander, it looks like it's slightly sharper than the Noctilux at f1. But just looking at the difference in the bokeh, it has its own signature look. Kind of like this football shape, not really circular, but it's very, very soft and it looks larger than the Nocton at 1.1 that you see here on the right hand side. Very interesting the way this lens draws, even in the corners here compared to the 1.1. It's just very interesting. Okay, let's see if I can get up another comparison here. So this is, first shot is from the Noctilux, and then I did turn on the coating. For some reason I got darker a little bit, the exposure, and I don't really see a difference in like the vignetting. Looks like it did, I guess, get brighter in the corner slightly, but it's very slightly. But I want to compare this, and I believe this lens is the 1.2. So this is the f1 and this is the 1.2 on the right hand side. As you can see, the Nocton 1.2 is very, very sharp wide open, very sharp. The bokeh is very soft with the 1.2. It kind of acts like a Summilux aspherical, how soft it is. And then here you just get the larger bokeh balls and the character for the Noctilux. So let's compare it to the 1.1, and this is the 1.1 on the right hand side. You can tell it's 1.1 because the bokeh does get larger. And zooming in, checking for sharpness, 1.1 is sharper than the f1, but at the same time there's a slight glow. There's a glow, as you can see. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but the Noctilux f1 has a glow around the H, and the f1.1 for the Nocton has more contrast. But just looking at both side by side, I do prefer the images coming out from the Noctilux. Okay, this is just a test shot, take out a better preview. In the office, very sharp f1. And here I was shooting my daughter's cup, f1.2. And then this is f1.4, and at f2 it sharpens up nicely, and 2.8 it is like super sharp. And you can see how the bokeh changes. So f1, 1.4, 2, and you can see the stars coming out here for the aperture blades, and then 2.8. I don't really like the way it looks like 2.8. I'm just gonna shoot this lens wide open f1 all day long. Okay, some outside comparisons. This is where it gets interesting outside. Okay. So I'm going to make sure the Noctilux is always on the left-hand side. Okay. So you'll notice again, Noctilux left-hand side, a little bit more magnification, so the car's cut off a little bit. Notice the window at the top, it is more blurred out. and you have a little bit of something going on with the 1.1. Sharpness looks very similar. Again, slightly sharper on the Nocton 1.1. The Nocton 1.1 seems warmer very slightly, and the Noctilux seems cooler. Maybe hard to see on your screen. Okay, next example here. Noctilux on the left hand side. How can you tell? Look in the corners, really dark in the corners. That's just the way this lens is. And to me, it does seem warmer. If you look at the greens here, seems warmer a little bit. It's really hard to tell. I don't know how the compression is going to be in YouTube. But at this distance, because it was farther, it seems to me, maybe we can zoom this in a little bit, 200%. There you go. Slightly sharper the 1.1, but not bad, the F1. Okay, next comparison outside. And I'm gonna have to look hard at these two to make sure I'm not mixing it up for you guys. Okay, it does look like the Nocton is on the left side. Yep. So zooming in, you notice this again, a slight glow, sharper at the 1.1. The bokeh is larger, more magnified compared to the 1.1 of the Voigtlander on the right hand side. You see how it gets really nervous here? The Noctilux F1 is actually well controlled and soft. Pretty interesting. And just like here at the bottom, the highlights coming out. And I guess because of the vignetting, it's you don't really see it here on the Noctilux on the left hand side. Very interesting. Let's just zoom into 200%. There we go. You can see all of that kind of like glow and haze going on. Very interesting. Okay, so next comparison is a fence, which is very hard to tell which lens was this shot at, but I can tell you right now. There you go. Now this is where you can see on the left hand side is the Noctilux, because it is more bluish and it is warmer actually with the Voigtlander on the right hand side. Looking at the gate, seems like the F1 smooths out, is more smoother, buttery smooth versus the Voigtlander 1.1. And it's pretty amazing that this lens is just so old, but till this day it's still very, very good. And I can't tell which is sharper, F1 versus 1.1, but again, like I was saying, this lens wide open, it is sharp. Okay, so when I shot the tree, this was actually at, let me take off embedded preview, at f2, and just zooming in, it is very sharp at f2. Very sharp. Let me see if I can do 200%. Here's f2. And then the next shot is going to be at 2.8. Right here. Very, very sharp at 2.8. Going back to 100. So this lens actually changes like character. It's like 2-in-1, where you want something that's very dreamy and very soft and good control of the background, then shoot it wide open. But if you want to get landscapes, then you just stop it down to 2.8 and it's like super sharp. I did do a distance, let me unflag this, filters off. There, this was shot at a distance at f1. Okay, so this is wide open at f1, and just zooming in to 200%. Okay, 200%. It is very sharp at f1 on an infinity distance. Very sharp. I mean, you know, you can tell this is f1 because look at the corners, it's so dark. Just very interesting how this lens works. Just checking calibration again. F1 again, close up, you get that glow. So my personal choice would of course be the Noctilux F1. The good thing is we have 3 different 50mm to choose from, and it's really up to the user what they prefer. If you prefer a more clinical, 50mm Summilux aspherical look, then the Voigtlander 51.2 is for you. The background is very, very smooth and well controlled and is very sharp. The Voigtlander 1.1, don't think the 1.2 is better. The 1.1 does have nice character and it looks very, very similar to the Noctilux F1. I think it's about, in my opinion, like 80%. And this lens is 10 times cheaper. It goes for about $600 on the used market compared to the Noctilux now. It's about $56 or around $6,000 on the used market. But of course, I got a good Black Friday deal from Sean. And yeah, 80%, 1.1, 80% of the Noctilux F1 images. It is solid, sharp, wide open, better control of the vignetting, and the bokeh has its own look. But I just prefer the bokeh from the F1. I prefer the glow, and I prefer how the image looks overall. It does look really, really 3D, and the atmosphere of the images that you get from this lens is second to none. There's no lens like it on the market that can produce images like this lens that can produce, not even the newer Noctilux 0.95. There's some people that prefer the F1 over the 0.95 because they say it's too clinical, or they just like character in the images. So I just need to sell the 35, which is on sale right now, and the Nocti 51.1, and this lens will become affordable. I didn't have to fork out too much to get this. Hey everyone, thank you for watching Goblin Photography. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions about these 3 lenses I reviewed, you can ask me in the comments below. Stay safe and Merry Christmas.